All right, here we go. Recording on. It is January 20th and almost through the first month of the year. It's hard to believe. I don't even know what happened to 2021. But cool stuff to talk about and go over today, having to do with what I've been talking about the last few weeks is the Kartra has come out with surveys and tests. You can actually put together tests to challenge your people, and that's a pretty cool thing to do. I knew it was going to be simple. I didn't know how simple it was going to be, and I was pleasantly surprised when I went through and actually set the first survey up. Did it last night, as you guys probably saw. You got my email, and it's really, really awesome. I mean, I just keep giving Kartra more thumbs up, and this is like no exception to that. So anybody got anything you want to start off with before I jump into that? Any burning questions or topics you want to cover?
I'm just more curious about the yacht and exotic places. What were you thinking? Like, would we go to like Hawaii or something, or on your boat to Hawaii?
Well, I don't think we'd be taking my boat to Hawaii, but no, I've done that in the past. Like I'll set up a thing like, where I take a bunch of people fishing, and we've done it to East Cape down in near Cabo, and different places in Mexico, maybe Tahiti. I went to Tahiti a few years ago, and that was an awesome place. And all these places, they've got conference rooms, they've got places to meet. So you go, you meet, you have some fun, and then you go have more fun in an exotic location. And I know a lot of the people have done that. Tony Robbins does it. He'll take he actually bought an island to do that with, and I had considered that as well. It's crazy how most people don't realize that you can actually buy an island. Yeah. And sometimes they're not that much. Like, for instance, I was looking at that a couple of years ago, in the island called San Salvador in the Caribbean. And they weren't selling the whole island. They were selling, I think it was the northeast tip of the island, which had a resort on it. And they only wanted, I think, like it was 2.4 million for it. And it was I think it was an 11-bed resort with 2 pools, 3 jacuzzis, a huge glass conference room that overlooked the Caribbean. And it was fully staffed. I mean, this was an up and running operation that you could just purchase for 2.4 million. And, I don't run enough seminars myself to justify that, but I could easily offer that up to the internet marketing space and let them all run their conferences there. I mean, that would be a highly prized type of thing. So that was kind of what I had in mind with the exotic location thing. And, as far as doing little groups on my boat, I can probably do, 10 people fairly comfortably in a mastermind scenario on there. And I've already done a couple of those. I've limited them so far to like 4 or 5 people at a time. And after doing that a few times, you could easily do it with 10 pretty easily. So, and those would just be like, either half day or day things. Overnight would be a different scenario. So anyway, cool stuff. So let's get into Kartra. I want to jump in and show you guys what I've been doing, how I set the survey up, and it's pretty cool stuff. Let me share my screen. So if you didn't see it yet, the email that went out, let's see, let me look at my email. My email today has been pretty exciting. I've been getting complete surveys completed. So every time somebody completes your survey, it will send you an email. I've been getting a lot of these messages here. You've made a sale. I just did a webinar. I've talked to you guys about affiliate marketing and webinars. My affiliate here was called Offline Sharks. I did a webinar for them on Tuesday, and on Friday is the deadline for the 3 months free on service. So we're getting a lot of sales coming in, based on that. They're going to pour in by tomorrow night. So this is a $497. It says here, it even breaks it down. Your net profit is $248 because I split half of this with the affiliate. So half to them, half to me. So I really like seeing those emails come through. Quite a few of those today. But here's the one that I sent out. And notice in the subject line, I actually plugged in your first name. And you can do that with Kartra. You can put first name. You can't, most of you know that you can put it in the email, so you can personalize the email, but you can also personalize the subject. Most people don't realize that. That's a really good key to getting these things opened. And I'll show you in the stats how that's really effective. And you can see where you drop the ball. So I didn't drop the ball on the open rate so far, but I did drop the ball somewhere else, and I'll show you that. But survey complete, sales. So it's really cool. I wasn't sure if it was going to send me a notification when somebody filled it out, and it does. So that is absolutely awesome. So over here in the surveys, you can go to analytics, and under analytics, this is the first place you look to see where you can optimize. So you'll see in analytics here, 26 visitors opened that email and looked at that form. So you can see right there, that's as of today, 26 people. I just sent this thing out at midnight last night. So it's only been out in circulation for 11 hours. But here, completed 50%. So I had a 50% conversion on people completing the survey. So I had a good open rate, but only half completed the survey. So that tells me maybe I should go back to the survey and put a little short video on the beginning to tell somebody, maybe to make it more enticing, more personalized. No, Roger's saying no. Teresa, no video on there.
No.
Hey, John, how quick question. How many people did you, I saw the survey, I just haven't had time, but how many people did you send it to? That's the question I have.
This just went to the people that are in this membership.
Okay.
So that is about, I think there's about 400 active right now.
Okay.
And as active, you guys are the ones that actually participate. There's like 400 that every once in a while I'll get an email from them or they'll show up. I've got people that have been in the membership for 10 years and they might show up once a year. But when they show up, they need it and it's worth it. So I've got all kinds of scenarios. But this is just the first part. This is kind of cool just to see your initial stats on how people interacted. But then you can go over here to the results tab. And this is where you can actually see the average time people spent on there was 7 minutes. But when you click the show the results, this is the really cool part here. It'll show you a summary, or you can see it person by person. Like if I want to see exactly what somebody put in, I can actually do that. So let's look at this by a summary. So question number one, this is something I'll show you. I should have actually labeled this so when I get over here, I can know what this means. But I know what this means. This was like, what are your goals for 2022? So 6 people want to get a new website. Do you think I could probably sell 6 websites right here?
Sure.
Definitely.
That's good for me to know and know who wants it. Instead of me sending out an email about getting a website done to everybody, I could probably have a very high conversion and work very little to get these 6 done. Here's the same thing. 8 people want to create a membership site. It might behoove me to reach out to them and offer assistance, right? So this is like what I was telling you. If you listen to your audience, they will tell you what they want to buy. And if you want to make money easily, there's no better way than to listen to who you're selling to.
Hey,
So,
John,
yeah,
is this the first time you've done this?
yes.
Are you doing this within the house to kind of see how it works and get a feel for it? And then would your strategy be to take it to a larger email base?
Oh, absolutely. I would probably create a different survey for a larger, more generic audience. This was for you guys. So I kind of know the parameters of what you're interested in. I just want to know like the percentages. If I'm going to create programs, I want to know what I should be creating them around. So this one was just like goals. This is like, I'm looking for, okay, who needs help with something outside of like a program? These are like specific, like if you want to create a webinar, you probably won't help with that. If you want to create a marketing funnel or a membership site or a website, these are more one-on-one projects. So question 2, how do you like to interact? And then I can see here, if people want calls, Zoom calls, in person, group calls, meeting on the boat, I can see, how people like to interact. Exotic location gathering. Got 5 people that probably want to go to Tahiti. I might wrap.
I was going to say that was me.
Yeah, I mean, I might wrap a vacation around that. I might send out another survey to those people and ask them where they want to go. Who wants to go to Tahiti? Who wants to go to Mexico? Who wants to go to Hawaii? And then I'll know. And this is just the beginning of the responses. By the end of the week or by next week, I would say, yeah, I'll probably have 50 or 60. So I'll have a much bigger pool of information here. But I just wanted to show you guys this of how cool this is to get this intel.
Yeah.
It's like mind reading.
It's amazing.
I mean, this is the ACT program in a nutshell. It's no more guessing. It's knowing exactly what the heart wants. I know how to make promises based on this information. So let's see. So this is cool. This is my question around what I want to create programs around, because this is, what do you want to learn? Basic Kartra training. Only one person wants advanced Kartra training. So I probably won't do that unless a bunch of people get in on that. But client acquisition, 8 people. That's a hot button. I might want to create a program specifically about how to acquire customers. 7 people, affiliate marketing. Again, that's a hot button. For this amount of people, that's a good percentage of people that want that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I like this one here. Anything John is doing. 6 people are in for that. That's really cool. Now, here's something interesting. A lot of people have asked me why my call is Thursday at 11. Thursday, 35%. 11, 9. It's the highest percentage. I've done, Randy asked me a minute ago if this was my first survey. It's my first survey in Kartra. I used to use, I forget the name of it, but I used to use a generic free quiz program or survey program. And
Survey
that's,
Monkey? Did you use, I use Survey Monkey.
I think it might have been Survey Monkey, but that's where I got my initial data was, of when to have the call. Because originally I had the calls on Friday, and I found out that nobody really liked the calls being on Friday. The only reason they were on Friday was because when I first created the program, I told the people, I said, I'm going to release the first module of training on Monday. And at the end of the week on Friday, I'll do a Q&A call. So that's where the Friday came from. And then I started getting complaints about, they didn't like it being on Friday. Friday was too busy. So that's when I sent the survey out and I said, what day would you like and what time would you like? And Thursday at 11 has always been the most popular response. So that's why the call's Thursday at 11, based on user feedback. If you follow this, you will have the best relationship with your audience. You'll get the best responses, the best conversion. So surveys are they're awesome. And then this question had to do with, when do you want to do, like, what's good days for full day events or multi-day events? And again, Thursday, high number, Saturday, high number. So a lot of times what I would do is I would do like Friday, Saturday, because I know Sunday, I think a lot of people like to have to themselves. So if I were ever to do a multi-day event, I'd probably do Friday, Saturday. And again, it's based on feedback from the past. Not too many people want Monday. Not too many people want Sunday. So you can see it's kind of Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's if you're looking for a group cluster, there it is. And again, this is a small group, but this is very representative of what I've seen in the past by doing surveys in the past. So, and then question 8 was just, feedback for anybody that wants to scream at me, tell me I'm horrible, whatever, what I could do better. It's a venting, it's allowing people to vent, but I can learn a lot from that. I can learn a lot from listening to what people are saying. Like here, my biggest problem is moving to a referral-based business since attending live events and programs to find new clients was eliminated by COVID. So that's Jim. Some of you guys probably remember him from Craig's group. I haven't seen him in a long time, but what he's telling me he's got a pain point here. He's telling me he doesn't know how to do webinars. I bet you if I looked at his thing, I bet webinar is one of the things he's interested in. And I can do that. I can go over here by lead and I can look for him specifically. When I click on view results, I can see, and he didn't check it off. So he might not even be aware his problem is solved by doing a webinar. He's interested in a membership site and marketing funnels, but he didn't select webinar. So I might want to reach out and have a conversation with him. Based on his comment and his things, I can see a gap. So you see how powerful this is? This is not about creating just big spam emails. This is about human interaction with a single person, really getting to know them so I can communicate. It's not about like mass numbers. When you're implementing the ACT program, you're trying to seduce the heart, convince the head. That's the best way to do business. If you do this right, you'll create customers that last a lifetime because they will feel that you know them and care about them. So this thing right here, this survey tab that Kartra added is an absolute gold mine. You have to think it through though. You have to, like I always talk about this, you engineer everything in your business. Everything you do should be highly engineered. And one of the things, if you're going to do a survey, the thing that you're engineering is the questions. You don't want a lot of questions. The fewer questions you can ask, the more response you'll get. So those questions should be meaningful. You can see like that questionnaire had 8 things to fill out. You can do it pretty quickly. It's fairly painless. You're just, for the most part, you're checking things off. There's only one thing where you write and it's optional. It's the feedback. I noticed that almost everybody gave me written feedback, which is awesome. And you know, I don't even care if it's bad. If it's something you don't like, I want to hear about it. I appreciate that. So anyway, I hope you guys are like seeing the power of this thing. But engineer it, think a lot about your questions. The fewer questions, the better, but the more meaningful. Like, let those questions be truly meaningful for how you want to do business with them. Get to know them, get to know what they need, what their pain points are. And believe it or not, this little sampling will give you the intuition to your whole audience. It really will. It'll give you a lot of insight. So when you're creating big ideas, if you get the idea here that a big idea is justified, it will probably work across a good majority of your audience. So in the A part of ACT, the analysis part, this, if you have an audience already, this is a really good way to do it. If you don't have an audience, you could actually do, instead of surveys, you can do a quiz. And inside the quiz, you can ask questions in the quiz and you can find out what the people know. And you can reward them with certain things. Like a lot of times you'll see people that do these quizzes and the reward for finishing the quiz is like a lead magnet or something of high value. So they'll take the quiz, they'll answer the questions, and you get the same data here. So it can give you a lot of insight into what those people want. And it also gets them onto your database. So once they're in your database, then you can tag them. You can do all kinds of stuff based on their feedback. So anyway, I don't want to beat this thing to death, but that'll give you a lot of insight into how to communicate with your audience, what they want. If you're wondering what programs you should be focused on building, here it is. So if let's say somebody answered your, let's say they answered your quiz, they filled it out, or your survey rather. I get the quizzes and the surveys mixed up. I'll talk about the quizzes in a minute, but in the surveys, that's what I'm focused on right now. If a bunch of people express interest in a particular thing, and you think, hey, I should build a program around that, or should I? It's kind of a question. You might not, you might think you should, but then should you? And here's what I would recommend. I would recommend sampling a test pilot. And what I mean by that is you put out, hey guys, I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm going to put the offer out there just like I did the original one. Say it's 6 weeks or it's 8 weeks or however many weeks it is. And I'm going to build it on the fly and you'll get to participate. You'll get to be part of the beta audience. And you see how many people will not just say, yes, I would do that. Everybody you know is going to say, oh, that's a great idea. I love that. I would do that. Well, that's bullshit because they won't. If the qualifier in all business, you want qualifiers. If you don't have qualifiers, you're going to spend your wheels. You're going to waste a lot of time. So here's the qualifier. Anybody that wants to participate in this, it's just $97 or it's $197. I did $297 the first time I did it because I really didn't want to do it. I was hoping people wouldn't take me up on it, but they did, to my surprise. And it was a good surprise because that's why you guys are on this call right now. If I hadn't done that, this call wouldn't exist. That was like back in 2009 or 2010. So it was a really good thing that increased my business dramatically. So anyway, that's what I would do. I would say, hey, who wants to get in on this? It's X amount of dollars. Here's how it's going to work. And if they start ponying up the cash, then they're truly saying yes, instead of a superficial, oh yeah, pat on the back. That sounds good. You're standing on the cliff. You're about to jump. Yeah, you should do that. I hate that shit. You know, I've been in so many masterminds where somebody will come up with just something cockamamie, like, and everybody's like, oh yeah, you should do that. And I'm like, are you guys out of your minds? I can't stand that stuff. It's like, encourage somebody to do something that you would do yourself, not just to make them feel good. There's no value in you making somebody feel good and they're going to have a disaster over it. Zero value in that. That is called detrimental. So,
John, can I ask a quick question about the calls? Is it,
sure.
you do one weekly, but have you ever done it less than that? Like
Yes.
once a month? And how successful was that? Or once every 2 weeks?
You do it pretty much as often as necessary. I have found, again, by surveying the audience, that this particular audience wants it weekly.
Mhm.
So that's why I do this call weekly. Again, everything I do is engineered based on my knowledge, based on what I know. I'm going to act accordingly. And that's so I can get the best results.
Mhm.
If I did this particular call monthly, I'd have a lot of fallout. I would lose a lot of people.
Mhm.
Now, I have a reseller group where I lead people in how to sell products and stuff like that. That group monthly is good. They're busy. They're out doing stuff. They just need like a monthly guidance call, answer some questions, and they're in a higher level service. So they know if they have something urgent, they can contact me and I'll take care of them. So, but as a group, like low dollar group stuff, weekly works really good.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
but yeah, I wouldn't do something just because it fits in a box. I do it for a reason.
But if you're starting out, it's like hard to know how much they're willing to do. It's like that guessing game again.
Again, yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's where the surveys are golden.
Mhm.
Just ask people. They're happy to tell you. And the ones that don't participate, like if you put a survey out and part of your group doesn't participate in it, they're probably not the ones you're going to be selling stuff to. They're not your real audience. They're just, they're just fluff.
Hey, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
So are you saying that the reason you're doing weekly is more based on the audience and how many, because you're teaching and they're asking questions and they need help along the way versus somebody that just needs to meet periodically for an overall update? Is that how you came to this conclusion?
Exactly. And it's based on user feedback. And I think that is the case when you're getting started in something, you need more support. So weekly support is, I wouldn't want to do daily support, even if you guys wanted it, I'm not up for that. I'll only bend so far before I break, and nobody wants me broken. Jim, you had a question?
Yeah, I noticed there wasn't fill in the blank. The last question on your survey was a fill in the blank. Please give me feedback on how I can improve. And then the other ones were choices. How did you figure out the best choices and what questions to ask?
I really just thought about, what do I want to know? Like, what is important for me to know? And the reason that stuff is important to me is I don't want to spend my time creating stuff that you don't want. That's a big thing for me, is I don't want to waste time. My time is the most important thing to me. It's far more important than money. Money, I can make all the money I want. I can't make more time. So for me to be effective with my time is critical. So if you guys want a particular thing, then I want to make it for you. I want to make you all happy. If you don't want something, I can see it very quickly and I won't spend any time on that. If a question comes up about something that just, one person wants, I'm happy to answer it on the call. Don't get me wrong. I want to help everybody, but for the group, I want to be the most effective. Like if 50% of you guys want training on a certain thing, then I want to build that. So that's where the questions came from. It's for me. What do I want to know going into 2022 so I can do better? The better I do, the more I make. That's just the way it's always been. So yeah, and it also allows me to be lazy. I don't have to run around and do a bunch of stuff that I don't need to do, which gives me more time.
Yeah, just one. Oh, sorry. One more quick thing. So you're asking what you want to know, but you're also like, let's say, what's the ideal day? Like if I didn't ever want to work on Sunday or Monday, I wouldn't have that as one of the choices.
Correct. And you'll notice I didn't.
Right.
There was some days I didn't put up because if you want that, I don't even want to know.
Okay, now here's a kicker question. You know how you can share funnels between Kartra accounts? Can you share surveys?
Yes.
Because yours is very similar to what I would send out to my clients.
I am almost positive because when you go into campaigns, you can create a campaign and you can put any asset, including a survey, in there.
Ah, sweet.
So absolutely. So this was just the first of many surveys. Like once I figure out what programs that everybody wants, I'll do another survey based around that. And I'll find out what about that particular program is important.
John, can you
Teresa, you started out, but you bombed out on us. I think we lost her. Sometimes she has to log back in. But anyway, so I'll do a follow-up survey and find out, based on that particular subject, okay, what do I need to do? Teresa, it looks like you're back. You
logged out for a second.
Yeah, can you tag people by their responses?
I saw it in the video, but I haven't done it yet. So I don't know the exact sequence to do that yet, but I believe that you can based on the tutorial that they had in their video.
Great.
So I need to go back. I need to go back and look at it again because that's something I definitely want to do. And Teresa's been pushing me in Kartra. She got me to figure out how to do the global headers and footers for sites, which is really cool, simple to do, but there's a particular order in which you have to do it that was not clear in their video.
That's for sure.
And we had to figure it out. It's not difficult. It's just Teresa said, God, I would have taken me forever to figure that out. I figured it out intuitively by looking at it with a couple of hops and a couple of tests. I said, no, don't do that yet. Don't do that. Let's see if it does this. And then, within a couple of things, I could tell her exactly the procedure order. So
Yep.
Cool stuff. I just love Kartra. I mean, they keep adding stuff to it. I don't know what else you would need to run a business at this point outside of this thing. The only thing it's a little bit lacking in is like a system to remind you who to call back when, for a true customer system. It's a little lacking on that, but there's places where you can put notes in there. That's about the only thing I could think of is like reminders for you to do stuff. That's the only thing it's missing that I can see so far. But the quizzes, we talked a lot about the surveys. The quiz side is the same thing. And it's almost like setting up the surveys. But a quiz, I've seen people do this. Like if somebody does a quiz and they want to get their results, like for instance, I could do a quiz on SEO. Like for all the people that want to do SEO, I could say, hey, take the SEO quiz and see how well your site stacks up against ranking in Google, right? People that are interested in ranking in Google would want to take that quiz to know how they're doing and how they could do better. So imagine this, I've got a bunch of survey questions. They answer the questions, and then they get to the end, and now I want them to opt in to see their results. You think they're not going to opt in at this point? They're emotionally invested in this process. By opting in, they can not only see their results, they're now in my database. So it's a great lead magnet. Quizzes are a great lead magnet. If you want high conversion, if you can have a good enough big idea on the front end to get them to jump in and start the quiz, they will get emotionally involved in it and they will opt in. You'll have a very high conversion ratio with quizzes. The other cool thing about the quizzes, if you have a membership site and you're training somebody, one of the things, I don't know why people like this, but they seem to love certifications. To me, no one has ever hired me because of my education, my certification, any of the crap that you can hang on a wall. No one has ever hired me for any of that. Basically, because I don't have any of it. People hire me because they talk to me. They know I know what I'm doing. I'm very confident about it. And that gives them the confidence and they want to work with me. So it's more about you. They're hiring you. They're not hiring the certificates on your wall, right? If they do, they're ass backwards and you probably don't want to work with them. They're hiring you for the wrong reasons. So, but that aside, that's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth, probably as far as you could throw me. But one of the things I know people love is they love these certificates. So if you have a training program and you're putting somebody through and they're learning something, hey, there you go. Jim's got one. I've given many out. Like I have one for anybody that goes through a live act training. I give them a certificate at the end because I know they love it.
That is the ACT certificate.
Yeah, I saw that. But here's the cool thing. We used to only be able to do that in live audiences, right? Now you can do it online with the Kartra quiz. You can give them the same test that I gave you guys in person. And at the end, you can have it print out a certificate for them. Really, really cool. Cool stuff. You can personalize it, the whole enchilada. So, I mean, it just keeps getting better. And do you guys want to see how I built the survey? How easy it is? Okay, let me do that. I totally got off track there and closed it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the surveys tab. This is where it all begins. You have the big plus button over here for add a new survey. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to go through and edit this one. So you'll just see a finished one of all the pieces. So the first thing you do is name it. If you want it in a category, you can categorize it. I didn't need it in a category. First thing here is the basic info. You can put your logo to it, tell it what it is, the description. I got a little lazy there. Next is the contents, and this is where you launch the builder. This is how you build the actual survey. So launching the builder gives you an easy interface. Over here, it's like, do you want to cover? You can either say yes or no. If you say no, it just takes it off. If you say yes, it will give you 4 different options to choose from. One is a logo at the top, text at the bottom, and start the survey button. That's the one I took. There's another one that you can actually put a video at the top. And I know you guys were shaking your heads, no video, but you could pop a little video right up here at the top instead of the logo where you actually just tell them how to do the survey or something. I thought that would probably be pretty cool, but I could see by your responses, well, maybe not, which is good. That's a good learning thing for me. I was like going to make a video last night and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to get this done. And Josh is going to get his dog coin. So I just threw my logo in there. But anyway, that's the first thing. You can edit this just like anything in Kartra. Just, type and do your editing. The next box is the questions box. So when you go down here, it'll say the first one, it won't have anything in here. You just say add a question, and then it will pop up the question box. Now here's something, it defaults to question 1. And if you remember when we were looking back at the results, it had question 1, but it didn't tell me what the question was. So I could put that up here and that would solve that problem. So that's what I will do. I'm going to probably come through and edit this again. And in fact, I'll show you, if I wanted to edit it, I could just copy that. And then I could edit that. Instead of question 1, I just put that in there. So now over on the results, when I go to look at it, I'll see what the answers to the question are. So that's something that I learned in this process. But over here, you edit this like normal. When you get to this part, you go to edit here and it opens this box up on the side. So here, it'll give you a custom field identifier. What this does, when you add a custom field identifier, and there's a toggle switch for here that I toggled on for this, because I want to add this information to this person's record in my database. So I want a custom field so this information can be added. So I call that custom field main goals 2020. So now in their record, that will be a field in there and this information will be in there for me. That makes sense to everybody? It adds more data to your back end. And then over here, the options, if you want to edit the option, if you want to delete the option, or if you want to add another, it defaulted to only 4. So I added some extra ones in here. And then you just hit apply and it updates over here. Just that simple. And then if you want another, you add another question. It just puts the next one right down the list. While we're here, I could copy that. Edit this guy. Oh, look at that. It only allows so many characters. So, interaction. So I'll just say, preferred interaction. That way I'll know what the question was. Okay, so after you get done with your questions, then you go to the ID form. This is where you can say, do you want to collect their information or do you just want this anonymous? You can do a totally anonymous form if you want to, but I want to collect the information and I want to add that over to my database because that adds value. And then lastly is the success page. And you can either have no success, which is probably not a good idea. You can have just a basic thank you, which again, I needed to get Josh satisfied before midnight. So that's what we got here. You can do a redirect to go to another page. There was several different options here that you could do. You could also add a call to action here, like if you want a redirect button. If you click that, it'll add a call to action, and then you could put here, like if I wanted to say, hey, thank you, I'm going to give you a free gift, click below to download the free gift. Perfect way to do that. And you can link that to a custom URL or another Kartra page for them to download their gift. So really cool stuff. If you want to put social media stuff on here, you can do that as well. I didn't particularly want to do that. I don't like sending people to social media. I like social media to send people back to me. So I put social media stuff in the footer of my website just because you almost need to show people you exist. But my goal is never to send somebody off of one of my properties back to social media. It's always the reverse. It's get them off of social media and bring them over to my private party, not send them over to the mayhem because you will lose them. So that's pretty much all there is. One thing you want to do as you're doing this, in case it times out, you want to regularly save progress. There was one time in here where I lost a form. I lost one of the questions because I took a call, I got sidetracked. And when I came back to it, it was probably 45 minutes. And I went to edit it and it logged me back out. I'm like, oh, damn it. And I didn't save that particular question. So remember to save progress. You can preview. And then when you're done, you can save and exit. And it takes you back to the form or the survey creation. So we're done with the contents. And now we go to the confirmation. You can send an email confirmation on this if you want to. I didn't see a reason to for this particular thing. I just did the simple thank you page. Then you can set up automations. One of the automations I set was I put a survey 2020 tag. So I will know everyone that filled this form out because you'll have a tag. You could also add them to lists because they interacted with this survey, and you can subscribe them to sequences. You can also do advanced automations. This is where I have to figure out how to go back in and place tags based on their input in the forms. And I'll get that figured out eventually. And that's really all there is to it. After that, you're finished. You can add the JavaScript if you want to put this form, if you want to put like a button on your website to add the form in there, or if you just want a Kartra page, which is what I did, and it just creates the address for you. So I just copied this, put it in an email, sent it out, and away we went. So pretty awesome stuff here. This is incredibly powerful, especially if you've got a following already. If you don't, you just need to, get creative about how you would get somebody to fill out a survey or a quiz. It's the same thing with with the quizzes. If you,
John, if
Yeah.
someone had a large following on a social media channel, what would be your advice to get them to get them to come check out to fill out a survey? Any advice on that?
Oh, sure. You could just take that link and post that in your social media. So when you start one up, you get to choose between a traditional survey and a quiz. So like if you want to test your students, you can do the whole quiz part. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you could engineer a campaign for social media where you just create the link and you post the link over in social media, and they can go right to either fill out the quiz or, quizzes. I've seen them do a lot of quizzes in social media, and it's, some of them are based on how well you're going to do in the following year. And it's almost like a challenge. It's like, hey, see how you stack up, and people go for that stuff. You think we should do which character on Star Wars are you? Yeah. I mean, you've seen this stuff. It works. It's whatever your audience is into. It's like, for marketers, like see who your super marketer character is. I know you see these things on Facebook all the time. And all they are, they're lead generators.
Which character on Friends are you?
Yeah. Whatever it is that your audience is in tune with, that's what you do it around. And it works. It's proven. It's like whatever works in the real world will work in here. Surveys and quizzes they work.
I'm going to do one that says, which personality of Randy Powell are you?
Oh, the cool thing too is in there, I did the basic stuff. I mean, I just knocked that thing out. When you go to create your quiz, you can select what kind of questions you want to ask. You can ask open-ended questions where they have to type in. You can ask multiple choice. You can have them rate things with stars. You can also have photos. You could have like 4 photos to choose from. Have icon photos that represent stuff.
Oh boy, Randy, I'm getting your photos out now, buddy.
Like if you're going to create a logo for your site, hey, which logo do you prefer? And you put all 4 of them in there, and
Hey, I just went there and started creating a survey while you were talking, and I got to the area where you're talking about the stars or the checkbox and all that.
yeah,
And I just stopped at that point, but it's really quick. So if I can do it, anybody can do it.
yeah. There's a bunch of options. You can get really creative with these things.
I think everybody in the group should do a quiz. All right. And like, we should pick somebody randomly in the group and like ask questions about them. So that everybody's going, well, who the hell is this Jim guy? I got to go Google this, because it was like, my audience is like, who is Jim? I don't know Jim.
The white elephant of leads.
I know. I mean, it'd be like this, it would be like a wild goose chase. All right. For each of us, sending people to find out about everybody else in this group.
Well, you remember Jim, don't you? Really? Yeah. You remember him? Or was he before your time in Craig's group?
Oh, Jim Butts. Yeah, I remember Jim. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He was like the first one to be doing the Amazon
bestseller. Yeah.
Yeah. How to get the Amazon bestseller. He was doing that before anybody.
Yeah, I stayed in contact with him as long as I was in, while I was in Frank Kern's group, because he's in there too. So I didn't know he was in here with you too. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting. I haven't heard from him in years. And that survey, he answered the survey. So now that is a perfect example of re-engaging with somebody from the past. With somebody that was in the group, hasn't shown up in a very long time, and it can rekindle an old fire. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend taking advantage of the surveys inside of Kartra and the quizzes too. What I can do is I can create a full certification program for the people that like that kind of thing in the ACT program. Like under each module of the ACT system, I could have a little quiz at the end where they get certification. They get their certificate for analysis, their certificate for the creation portion, certificate for traffic, and then overall they get a course completion bundle certificate, like what Jim had showed there a little while ago.
Like the investor group that I'm just joined is, the certification I got to get for them. Everything you had to take a quiz at the end of every section, and you had to get 100% onto it in order to get your thing. And I didn't know I could do it in Kartra, but now I knew to. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I want to warn you guys about, if you're going to hire someone and they boast they have a certificate in something, that doesn't really mean much. I had people contacting me, wanting to do work for me, and they had these Microsoft certificates and Google. They were Google certified, and I'm like, I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what does that mean, Google certified? And they went through Google's courses on SEO of how to do. Now get this. This is somebody that is anti-SEO, teaching people and certifying them to do SEO. I'm like, they did not know their ass from a hole in the ground. It was like they were only trained by somebody that is trained to do what they want them to do, which is not what is going to work. So, be mindful of, think things through. Does something make sense before you spend your money on it? Google that right from the beginning. You don't take SEO advice from somebody that does not want you to do SEO, right? That doesn't make sense. So it's just food for thought, I'm a big common sense guy. I make a lot of my decisions based on common sense, and it's done me really well. And, up to this point.
John, I have a quick question.
Okay.
So I actually had someone come on my show talk about automated robot handwritten postcards that you can automate like an email. Is that something we should consider doing too?
Yeah, if handwritten stuff, anything that's personalized does get better conversion. Like I threw it away, but I had one here that just came in yesterday. It was an actual postcard, and it was handwritten. Now I know it wasn't actually handwritten, it was printed, but they did that because they know that's going to get attention. It's out of the norm. Like as human beings, we value time, I think, to a certain extent. Everybody does. So if somebody sends you an automated letter, like, hey, this went out to 50 million people and it was just a blast email, or not an email, an actual postcard, that stuff just goes right in the trash, right? For the most part, you've seen a million of them. This is just another one. But then you get one that you see it's got handwriting on it. And you think that somebody actually wrote you a personal note, so it grabs your attention. It stands out. It's different. So anything that you can do that separates you will get attention, for sure. There's no doubt about it. That's just a human characteristic that we all have. We pay attention to things that are different. If it's the norm, we kind of tend to filter it out. We have a very advanced filtering system. So we filter. We also have, on the opposite end of that, we have an activation system, and you can use both of these to your advantage. So the way you would use the filtering system to your advantage is by being different. Just that simple. The activation system, and I can give you a perfect example of it, because Jim Butts, where I showed you the example where he was talking about a problem he had, but yet he didn't click the button for webinars, right? He loves live events. He's hurting in his business because of COVID, and he wasn't interested in the webinar. So that tells me he probably is not activated to it. So all I have to do is send him a simple email that will activate him to that. And then he's going to see it. It's all around him. He's just filtering it out. But as soon as I open that activation and I cut that little filter loose, he's going to see right through it. And he's going to start seeing the answer to his problem everywhere. It's like when you buy a car, let's say you buy a white VW. You've probably never seen a white VW on the road before you bought one. But then you see them everywhere because you're activated to it. Your filtering system is now focused instead of blocked. It's the same thing. We all have it. If we didn't have a filtering system, we couldn't survive, because we'd be information overload. Our little brains can only process so many things at a time. So we have to have a filter for self-preservation. But as salespeople, as marketers, understanding this mechanism could be a huge advantage to you, of which filters to open with your prospects, and understanding which filters they have that you need to penetrate and get through. So it's filtration and activation, activating them to a thought process, which that's where a big idea can work really, really well. And then all of a sudden you're the one right there showing them the way. That is a perfect scenario for getting someone right from activation into a sales process, giving them a presentation, making sense, appealing to their heart, seducing their heart, convincing their head, eliminating objections, and making an offer. You can get from nowhere to a sale very quickly with that process. So, and again, I don't know about you guys, but this stuff seems like a lot of common sense to me. Maybe, I don't know, and maybe it is once I activate you to it. So there, you guys have all been activated.
Yeah.
Go forth and prosper.
Yeah.
That's my voodoo for the day. All right. Okay. Anything else? I I really think this was a great thing for you guys to learn the surveys and this whole process.
Yeah. Hey, John,
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
quick 2 questions. And thanks for taking care of the PHP on the website. But I think you had mentioned something about how to move large files and get them to where you can use them in the system and on your website, but I didn't catch all that.
Okay, sure. So if you have Kartra, the easiest way is to load it up in Kartra, and then you can have that as a download. You can just put it on a page with a button and let somebody download it. The other way to do it is if you've got a big file, WordPress has like limits on how much the file size can be. So the way around that is to use FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol. There's FTP programs out there. Like I use one called FileZilla. It's free. You can download it and install it. And then you take your server credentials, your host name, your username, your password, and then you can basically log into the back end of your website where all the files are. And it looks just like a file system on your computer. It's folders and files inside of folders. That's all it is. And you can take a massive file and you can upload it into one of those public folders on your website, and that will give you the address. So the address would be, randypowell.com / whatever folder name you put it in, and then / the name of the file. And that link, by clicking that link, will automatically download that file to the user on the other end through their browser.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the long way around it. The easy way is just to upload it to Kartra and, put it on a Kartra page.
So when you upload it in Kartra and put it on a Kartra page, how do you get that to your website? That's the next question. How do you get your Kartra membership site or membership page in Kartra or any other landing page or whatever? How do you get that into your main website?
There's a couple of different ways you can do it. And again, this is strategy. This is engineering a process of how you want it to go down. Like if you want somebody to opt in to download this, is that what you're trying to do?
Well, I want them to be able to go to the main website, which if they're already there, I want them to be able to, example, download my free blah, blah, blah blueprint, for example.
Okay.
And it's right on the main page, the home page.
Okay.
So right now I have a really short giveaway.
So you just want a button click and download it. No opt-in, no nothing.
No.
Okay. So you just need that file up on a server somewhere. So here's the thing. If you load it up to Kartra, it's going to be sitting on their file server, and there's a URL to that.
And just bring that over to the button.
You just bring that URL to the button and you're done.
Now, if it's in Kartra in any kind of way and they button in through that, doesn't that put them in the database anyhow?
Nope. Now, if they're just accessing a file and they're not in your database, it's not going to put them in.
Okay. All right. So the other way is just the lead magnet or whatever from Kartra over to your website. So the last question is, that still doesn't tell us how to get our landing page from Kartra or our membership site. How do they access that from our main website?
It's the same thing. Like, let's say you create your membership site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll show you. Okay, so we go to memberships. And then like, here's the ACT membership. So if I wanted to put a button on my homepage to go to ACT, I would go over here and I would grab the login link. And I want the one for the members, and there's the URL. I just put that on a button.
But that member login is if you're already a member. I'm talking about,
correct.
You want them to become a member and they get a choice. If they're not a member already, you get 2 choices: member already or new member.
Okay. So for the non-member, I would go over to the pages. I'd pick the sales page, whatever that was.
Okay.
And same thing, I would say get code or link. And then here I can get the page link.
And then put that over there.
Put that on the button. Or if I want to get the page code, like let's say you have a WordPress site and you actually want a Kartra page to be a page in your WordPress site,
Mhm.
you would take this script right here. This is get the page code.
Right.
So this page code, you upload this to your own server, and then the Kartra page will actually appear there.
So where do you put that code?
If let's say you were in Beaver Builder,
Mhm.
all you have to do is add a module to the page that's the custom HTML and drop that code in there, and it will replace that whole page with the Kartra page.
Oh, so you can create a blank page and then drop that in there.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. So that's the way you get pages over there. And also in products, if you don't want to send somebody to a sales page and you just want them to go right straight to a checkout, if you go to the product, you can grab the checkout link.
Yeah, that part is cool, and I know that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of hooks in Kartra that you can bring over to your website. Almost everything has hooks, like even the forms. In here, you can create. See, this is a form created to go on Kartra pages. Here's one that's created to be an embed on your website.
Got it.
So when you create these to be an embed on your website, it's going to create a button code. You put that button code on your website.
Very cool.
If it's a form for Kartra pages, this is a form that it's just going to go into a page on one of your Kartra pages. Now you can take that page that has, all this stuff in it, and you can put that on your website too. So there's a ton of hooks. Anything you want to do, like even your calendars. If you want to drop a calendar, let's say you want to take this calendar and you want to put that on your website, you can say get calendar, and here's a direct link to a Kartra hosted page. So you could just put that as a button. Or again, if you wanted to put it on your website itself, you use the custom HTML and you drop that code in, and now the calendar shows up on your actual page.
Got it. Okay.
So it's really cool. I mean, this thing is ultimately transformable into anything you want. And the same thing with the surveys. You can grab that survey button and put it on a button on your site. Help desks. You'll notice, I have the help desk actually on my site, the Dominator one. So I went to get the link, and I put this code, the embed code, on the website. And you'll see an example of it here. It pops up over here in the bottom right. So that's the Kartra help desk right there, built into my website from that little script I dropped in there. That embed, let's see, that embed from that one page that you saw. If we go to, I think it's on training. Yeah, there it is. There's the button right there. That's the Kartra embed button. Here's another one. You can see they look a little bit different than my regular website buttons. They don't have the fancy rollover color, but they have a little bit of a color. You see the color change there when you roll over it.
That book does not download, by the way, John. That link doesn't work.
This one here. Let's see what happens. There, let's see. There it is.
I couldn't get it to download.
You might have had it too high of a firewall or something.
And I also couldn't get you had the, download the emojis for your email. I couldn't find a place to download that either.
Oh, it should have been just like that. Let's see where that was. Those were on the homepage, right?
I believe so.
Let's see here. My browser is not wanting to load stuff right now. Here we go. Okay, attention grabbing icons. Again, that was a Kartra button. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so this one doesn't download. All you do, you just copy them.
Then how do you insert them?
Paste. You can literally copy and paste that into an email subject line or like a Facebook. You go to
Okay, so you have to do them one at a time.
yeah.
I just downloaded it and it worked quick, so it is working.
Yeah, you copy it, paste it, and away you go.
Thank you.
You can even copy the big guys.
Hey, there we go.
And the big guys, just because they're big, they don't make them bigger on your screen. They come out whatever size. This is bigger because I resized the font. But like if you put it in a subject, don't think it's going to give you big eyes in the subject line. Same size eyes. And this, where I got these, I actually spent a couple hours going through my my spam folder in my email and pulling these out of subject lines of other people that were spamming me. That's where I got all of these. There is a ton more. I mean, I don't know how many are here. There's probably 100 of them, but there's probably literally thousands of these.
Where are those at on your website?
Right on the homepage.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Right on the homepage. If you scroll down, I put a new section, this month's freebie, attention grabbing icons. So yeah, that was part of my revamp when I when I redid the site at the end of last year. And I still have all my cyber specials up here too. It's and the phishing team, people that are interested in that. So cool stuff. All right. Anything else?
Just more of a technical question.
Okay.
If someone's just starting out, they don't have any clients, they're just building, should they still pay the $100 a month for Kartra? Or
that's a hard question to answer. If you don't have the money, then no, it's not a good idea. It's if you're looking to start a business, though, you've probably heard this. It takes money to make money, right? It's a really inexpensive overhead to run a business. Like traditionally, like when I started in business, the thing was you went out and you rented a building and you got a phone line and you had all these expenses before you even started doing business. There was a huge barrier to entry. And now with the internet, that barrier to entry is gone. It allows anybody to do business online. But if you want to actually gear up and run a real business, an ongoing business, and have clients and recurring billing and all that stuff, if you're really serious, I don't know of a cheaper way to run a business and have your foundation all in one package than the $99 a month. It's a very inexpensive overhead for a business. But again, if you're 6 months away from making your first dollar and having Kartra is not going to help you get there any faster, then strategically plan when you want to start that.
okay.
Don't just spend money for the sake of thinking you have to. In business, everything is a strategy. You buy things when you need them. I know we buy all kinds of shit because we go to events and we get sold from people on stage and, false senses of, this, that, and the other. And it's not that it's bad stuff. A lot of times it's good stuff that we're buying, but it's not in the sequence of order of when we need it. And that is what kills us because we wind up not using it at all. And then it was a complete waste. So if you can engineer your business around buying things when you need them, you'll be most cost effective. But I don't really see a better way to run an online business than having a Kartra account, quite honestly. I've done it without, and it was no fun. Kartra has made my business and the scaling of my business so seamless and so effortless. It's ridiculous.
Hey, John, can I add to that for Josh?
Sure.
Hey, Josh, and I'll be very transparent with you. I had been speaking and coaching for several years before I really started trying to get serious. And I was afraid to spend a little bit of money here and there because of, the same thing. And quite honestly, when I heard John talk about Kartra, I knew that I had to have a one-stop shop where I could get most of the stuff done. And if you think about it, $99, if you really go to Starbucks like I do every day, $99 is really not that big a deal. There's got to be something in your life. And I had to really peel back the onion and look at it too. What am I doing? And really, you're also learning Kartra while you're trying to create clients, trying to find those prospects. And so the two go hand in hand, because by the time you start getting them, you'll have somewhere to store them, place them. And the only way you can really do it is to get some automation going and learn Kartra in terms of ads and that sort of stuff. So you might as well start playing around in the field while you're trying to build for $99. That's just my 2 cents. And I've only been doing this for a very short time. And if I can do it, and Roger's nodding his head, I'm telling you, I am not a techie. And I have created lead pages. I've created, all kinds of stuff, but you got to play in it and get dirty and make some mistakes. And then John will help you get out of the quicksand when you mess up. But it's really been a good investment. And I don't have a lot of clients, but I have enough now to pay for without thinking about the Kartra. But John is really telling you something that's, really important. And so if you have the $99 a month, go ahead and do it. That's just my 2 cents.
No, I do. It was one of those more technicals. I guess I just need to hear from you guys. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I need to build it, but should I?
Yeah. I mean, if long term, if you're planning on building an online business, it really should be a consideration of the foundation. There, not to say there's not other options, because there's a lot of other options out there, but you should seriously consider, Kartra as a very viable option. I know I've tried a lot of them and I would never go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Between that and a WordPress site that John updated for me in terms of website, and having the ability to go in with Beaver Builder and learn to do things that in the past you would have to pay somebody to do, like upload videos, etc. Between that and Kartra, it's a huge advantage for somebody just starting out.
Yeah. It'll save you a lot of money to not have to pay people to do this stuff, because they'll charge you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Even just a web developer will charge you a bunch just to go in and make simple edits that once you see how easy it is, you go, man, I got ripped off.
And they won't get it done fast enough for you. They never get it done fast enough. If you want to do a live event next week, you can go in your website and put a lead page in there and get it up. You can't call a web developer and say, hey, can you get this done for me before next week? No.
Yeah, that's another layer of freedom that true entrepreneurs like to have. They like to have the ability to move fast, get things done quick, and get on to the next thing. And having those kind of tools that gives you that, it puts that power at your fingertips, really important. You know, I mean, Randy said he's not a techie guy. Well, believe it or not, I'm not either. Not to say that I have not learned a lot over the years, but writing code and all that kind of crap, that's definitely not me. When my computer breaks, I'm not the one that fixes it. I'm on the phone with somebody and go, hey, I need a little help over here. and for me, Kartra was awesome. I tried ClickFunnels, and ClickFunnels was only part of a solution. And then you had to connect the dots to other stuff. And that's just not me. That kind of stuff is not intuitive to me, like APIs and connecting backdoor stuff and computer world. That you guys might think so, but I'm really not that guy. So it's, it's like Randy says, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm saying the same thing. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And that has filtered down, and everybody that I've put onto Kartra, they've all been very much overwhelmed when they first saw it, but with my assistance and getting them up and running, and then they get used to it a little bit, they all say the same thing. They're like, man, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's a great system. Really is. If you took it away from me, I'd probably cry. I don't know what I would do.
John crying, that would be a sad day.
Yeah, it would be a sad day. I'd probably pack it in and just go play on my boat for the rest of my days. Oh, man. All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
No.
Awesome call, guys. Again, I want to thank you all for showing up and asking the right questions, and good stuff. All
Yay,
right.
Thank you.
Well, next week, same time, we'll be back on. Think of what you need, how I can help you, and I'm happy to do so. And if you haven't filled out your questionnaire, go for it. I need your input. All right, guys, have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.